Okay, so we are starting with the day's lecture. The today's topic is non-pituitary gonadotropins, and in fact, exactly before coming to the non-pituitary gonadotropins, we'll briefly like to recapitulate what we studied yesterday. Of course, we studied yesterday the development of pituitary gland and the hormones of pituitary gland, that is anterior pituitary and posterior pituitary. So, can you, who'll tell me the name of anterior pituitary hormones? Durga, can you tell me the name of various hormones of anterior pituitary?
Yes, sir. LSH, FSH, TSH, PCL, prolactin,
Okay,
and MSH.
melanocyte stimulating hormone, fine. What's missing?
ACTH.
ACTH. And one more, I think. Somatotropic. हो
Yes,
गया?
sir. Somatotrophic.
Right.
Yes, sir.
So these are the hormones of anterior pituitary, and of course FSH, LH, they are referred as gonadotropic hormones. That's why while studying the releasing hormones, you have studied GnRH, gonadotropic releasing hormone, which causes the release of FSH and LH. So that's the referred as gonadotropic hormone. Now, Piyush, can you tell me about posterior pituitary hormones?
Yes, sir. So oxytocin
Yeah.
and one was
Oxytocin is one from where it is released?
ADH. So hypothalamus.
Hypothalamus. Try to be specific. Hypothalamus
Yes,
is a
sir.
big thing. Hypothalamus has so many nuclei. So which nuclei?
Yes, sir. Paraventricular.
Paraventricular releases oxytocin. And
Yes.
what about other hormone?
Supraoptic releases.
Yeah. Hormone is? One is oxytocin, second is ADH, antidiuretic,
ADH.
also referred as vasopressin.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Santosh, can you tell me two important functions of oxytocin? Yeah, Santosh, you are there?
सर ऑक्सीटोसिन मिल्क लेट डाउन करेगा सर
मिल्क लेट डाउन करेगा और सेकंड फंक्शन
पर्सन सर ग्लैंड का अथी करेगा शॉकिंग अथी करेगा
parturition, it helps in the parturition. Nabiha, can you tell me about other hormone, that is ADH, vasopressin? Yes?
So it is antidiuretic hormone.
आवाज नहीं आ रही बेटे, आपकी आवाज बढ़ाइए अपनी.
Hello.
साउंड नहीं आ रही है आपकी, कम है.
Hello.
Yes.
So it is vasoconstrictor.
Okay, I'm not getting your sound. Chippy will tell me the functions of ADH. Anji.
Sir. Yes, sir. Hello.
Yes.
Hello.
Yes.
Yes, sir. ADH, also known as antidiuretic hormone, it also help in prevent excessive urine. That is diuretic condition में diuretic condition में a hormone produce किया है to prevent excessive loss of water.
Right. Fine. So these were the two topics. Then there was another question yesterday about the mechanism of action of steroid hormones. I had told you, still I'll very briefly recapitulate again that as I told you, the hormones are, steroid hormones are outside the cell, but the receptors are within the cytoplasm. Here you can see, here you can see the receptor. This is the receptor, and here we have the hormone. So since the hormone are small molecular weight compounds, they enter through the cell membrane. They, after entering, they form hormone receptor complex. Once the hormone receptor complex are formed, they move to the nucleus and get attached to the nuclear chromatin. Since all other cellular organisms, mRNA, this mitochondria, this rough endoplasmic reticulum, smooth, all common cellular organelles are present in the cells. I have not drawn again and again. So this hormone receptor complex, once get attached to the nuclear chromatin material, it leads to synthesis of RNA, messenger RNA. So this messenger RNA has a particular coding for synthesis of a particular hormone, and accordingly a new hormone or new substance is synthesized or produced. Okay,
Yes, yes, sir.
clear?
Yes, sir.
So we move to the topic of the day. Topic of the day is non-pituitary gonadotropins. Well, I think we know the gonadotropins. Non-pituitary gonadotropins. Yeah, who will tell me about the gonadotropins? I think we have good number of participants. Anji, Rohit Gupta.
सर non-pituitary तो नहीं, gonadotropins पता है.
बट नॉन पिट्यूटरी भूल जाइए, पहले गोनेडोट्रोपिन्स बताइए. विच आर द पिट्यूटरी गोनेडोट्रोपिक हार्मोन्स?
Sir, FSH, LH, and ICSH.
ICSH is the other name of LH only. So we'll say FSH and LH. Okay. So now we are saying non-pituitary gonadotropins. Why we are saying non-pituitary gonadotropins? Yes, yes.
Pituitary gland doesn't have a relationship or any hand in releasing the hormones. Any type of
Okay.
These hormones are released from placenta.
Well, fine. These are the two hormones, PMSG, that is pregnant male serum gonadotropin, and human chorionic gonadotropin. Listen, from name very much clear, that is pregnant male serum gonadotropin. It is found in the serum of pregnant male. Human chorionic gonadotropin, it is found in the urine of a pregnant woman, human beings. And source, it is also chorionic membranes, that is the placental tissue, human chorionic gonadotropin. Well, PMSG has a function, about 90% of its functions are like FSH and hardly 10% are like LH. And reverse is that of HCG, human chorionic gonadotropin. It is 90% its functions are like LH and 10% like FSH. So why we call them as non-pituitary gonadotropin? Yeah, who is telling? Piyush?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, these hormones are not released by pituitary gland. So
yeah, there are two things. First thing is their functions are like gonadotropin hormones, but since they are not being produced by pituitary, so we can't call them as gonadotropic hormones. Since their source of production is different than pituitary, so we call them as non-pituitary gonadotropins. I think this should be very clear in your mind. Okay? So that's why we call these hormones as non-pituitary gonadotropin, or many times also referred as APL, or anterior pituitary-like hormones. So they are referred like this, anterior pituitary-like or APL-like hormones, but commonly we refer them as non-pituitary gonadotropins. So this is the name. Then we come to next hormone. First, we'll talk about pregnant male serum. PMSG is the first hormone. Well, PMSG, pregnant male serum gonadotropin or equine gonadotropin, is a glycoprotein hormone having a molecular weight of 68,000 and half-life of 26 hours. You can take down these are if important things you feel. Wherever you need, you can stop me. And the source of production is endometrial cups of pregnant mare's uterus. You know, once the mare becomes pregnant, in the uterus, a layer of placental membranes are formed. In the placental tissue, there is endometrial cups. So these endometrial cups produces this hormone, and so that's why we refer it as. And once it is produced from the endometrial cups, it goes into the circulation and keep on circulating in the blood of the pregnant mare. As I told you, half-life is 26 hours, but it is in circulation of a pregnant mare between 40 to 140 days of gestation. Very easy to remember, 40 to 140th day of gestation, and it reaches a peak around 60th to 110th day. So the maximum concentration of PMSG in the circulation is at the gestation stage of 60th to 110th day. Otherwise, it keep on circulating between 40th to 140th day. If you can take up the blood of the pregnant mare during this time, then these hormones can be separated out. And first thing is Cole and Hart was the first scientist who reported this hormone. Just a second, I have a call, then I'll. Dr. Pramod, you can continue the discussion.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So after getting these things, what you have understand regarding this PMS, you know. Likewise, sir has told that Cole and Hart in 1930, they have reported the very first pregnant mare serum gonadotropins. So exactly they are the glycoprotein with molecular weight of 68,000 and they have a half-life of 26 hours. So this PMSG, we get it from the endometrial cups of the pregnant mare's uterus. So these endometrial cups, these are the fetal placental cells which have migrated into the endometrium as they have isolated from the endocrine glands.
Yes, sir.
So this PMSG, when gets in the circulation, these are in between 40th to 140th days of gestation. Mean to say, when the animal is in the gestation period of in between 40th to 140th.
आवाज नहीं आ रही है डॉक्टर प्रमोद, you are muted, you have been muted. Okay, let me continue. Thank you for taking care in between. This is, I think, is clear to all about PMSG. Few more important things about PMSG is that PMSG activity is primarily, as I have already told you, primarily FSH-like, very little like LH-like action. It, in pregnant mare's own body, it acts on the maternal ovaries causing follicular development and multiple CL formation in already pregnant mare. Can you see the consequences of this? Any student?
Sir,
Yeah?
हेलो सर.
Yes, yes.
तो ये हार्मोन सिर्फ मेयर से ही निकलेगा. ये
Mare?
हार्मोन सिर्फ प्रेग्नेंट मेयर से ही रिलीज करेगा.
Okay.
नहीं.
बेटे आपकी आवाज कट रही है. Anyway, I'll just tell. In fact, what happens?
As you said it,
Yeah.
sir, as you said, this is the estrogen synthesis hormone, sir. So then it's responsible for fat accumulation in mammary gland, development of mammary gland.
No. It's wrong to say estrogen synthesis. In fact, it helps in follicular development. And when the follicular development takes place, follicle is the source of estrogen hormone. Right? Indirectly, you can attribute to, but not directly. So when the follicle develops, in the atrium of the follicle, there is good, this fluid component is full of estrogen. मेरा यहाँ पूछने का आपसे पर्पस ये था कि जो this pregnant mare PMSG is being produced, it is circulating, so again more and more of CL is formed. So what will happen? The pregnant mare may show signs of estrus. Normally, a pregnant animal doesn't show sign of estrus, but here this thing may happen. So that has to be taken care of. That if the animal is showing sign of estrus, it should not be inseminated. It should be confirmed beforehand that it is pregnant or not. Okay. And considering this advantage, the functions of this, the pharmacological use of PMSG has been devised. That this is being used as a source for inducing follicular growth. So if we want that more and more follicular growth takes place in an animal, then we can use this hormone, and that is how it is used as a source of inducing multiple ovulation. The more follicle growth takes place, more of ovulation takes place. So that is the main reason, and it remains in the circulation for a longer time, as we have already studied. That is a 24-hour is the half-life of this hormone. Then we come to the next hormone. Anything not clear about PMSG? I think it's clear.
Yes, sir.
Okay. We go to next hormone. Use क्या है? Okay. But I think you must have heard of embryo transfer technology, or isn't? Have you heard of?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Embryo transfer technology. In fact, routine. What happens? Routine में क्या होता है? There is a follicular waves. Normally, 2 follicular waves takes place in one estrus cycle. First follicular waves subsides around the 9th to 11th day of estrus cycle, and the second follicular wave which starts and is completed at the end of the estrus cycle, that results in ovulation of the follicle, and ovum is released. So if one follicle is maturing, only one ovum will be released. If number of follicles maturing is more, then we'll get more number of ovum which can be harvested, and it can be implanted in the recipient animals, so that from a one animal 5 to 10 ovum can be picked up, and we can make surrogate mother, that is recipients, that is after fertilization, in vitro fertilization, it can be implanted in recipients. So this is a very useful hormone, PMSG or FSH like hormones. Clear?
So this is limited for mare only, sir.
No. You can take, it can be used in cattle also. But there is one restriction. These hormones are protein in nature. Whenever we use any peptide or protein in another species, then there are chances of anaphylactic shock, because this hormone is a peptide in nature, now of equine origin. When you inject in cattle, then there are likely chances of anaphylactic shock. So while injecting the hormones for the first time, we must be prepared for treatment of anaphylactic shock. So that is a precaution to be taken. And nowadays, synthetic PMSG is also coming. So that thing has been taken care of. And it's always useful to be prepared for treatment of therapy of anaphylactic shock when you are using hormonal therapy. It is always advisable. Okay. So next we come to human chorionic gonadotropin. HCG is a glycoprotein hormone with molecular weight of 30,000 and half-life of 8 to 12 hours. Hormone is a chemically different from pituitary LH, but its action is primarily like LH and also to some extent like FSH. The source, as we had discussed, the cytotrophoblastic cells of the chorionic villi, that is human placenta, is the source of HCG. It appears in urine a few weeks after conception and reaches a peak at the approximately 50 days of pregnancy, and thereafter it starts declining to negligible quantity. So as we said in the PMSG, 140 to 140 days is the period when it circulates, but its concentration is maximum around 60 to 110 days. So it reaches a peak around 50th day of pregnancy, and around that time, after that, of course, the concentration will go on declining. You must be knowing that in human beings, there is one Fredman pregnancy test. Urine of woman, pregnant woman, if is to be confirmed, it is used for testing whether pregnant means progesterone hormone. As the pregnancy takes place, progesterone starts increasing. So all these tests are based on that what is the concentration of progesterone. So that is the Fredman pregnancy test. In earlier, of course, now we have very handy kits which are used, but in earlier times, it used to be injected. This urine of pregnant woman, when injected into a female rabbit, it always have this mature follicle. So it used to show ovulation. Rabbit is one species which have always mature follicle. But when we injected this urine of a pregnant woman, that it used to cause ovulation. Ovulation, because its major function is like LH-like function. So it causes ovulation. And this is again like there are so many reproductive disorders like anovulation, where follicle growth takes place, but it does not ovulate. So under these circumstances, HCG is very commonly used in veterinary practice. And as I had told you, that PMSG and HCG, both are hormones of peptide in nature. They'll be treated as foreign protein whenever injected into another species. So one has to be cautious while injecting. And another thing, that repeated injection of this protein, because whenever we inject, some small quantity of antibody will be developed against this. So repeated injection will lead. Yes.
Sir.
Yes.
Sir, I am not getting a point, sir.
ये बताइए.
Sir, in animal, sir, after pregnancy, sir, ovulation and follicular growth is going place, sir, in taking place, sir.
Ovulation, बेटा follicular growth होगी तब ovulation होगा ना animals में.
No, sir. Sir, after pregnancy this happens, sir.
नहीं. It's before pregnancy.
So then the HCG is formed after pregnancy, sir.
In human beings, I'm talking of what happens. In human beings, Human chorionic gonadotropin is produced by the placental tissue after pregnancy.
Yes, sir.
This HCG has small quantity of LH like
Yes, sir.
activity, okay,
Yes, sir.
and which is secreted through urine.
Yes.
So if we can detect its concentration, so it is used for a confirmatory process.
The second point, sir, HCG
Yeah.
is now used very much in use of ovulation in veterinary science.
Yeah. Yes. What is your
Sir,
question?
means sir, it on second person, second animal, sir.
Certainly, ये तो आपने ह्यूमन बीइंग से ले लिया. अब किसी जैसे cows है, you have a few cows. In those cows, over a period of time, we have said that we have examined that follicle development is taking place, but ovulation doesn't take place. So ovulation doesn't take place even if you inseminate. Fertilization or conception will not take place. So this LH-like hormone is injected. A preparation having LH-like function, which is in unpurified form, we refer it as HCG. If it is injected, ovulation will take place, and that will result in ovulation and fertilization taking place.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. So, but at the same time, I'll caution you that always while using this peptide hormones, it has to be very cautious because it may result in anaphylactic shock. So one should be prepared for this, and repeated use should be avoided. अगर आपको repeated use करना है, there should be sufficient gap between the two uses or three. After one or two uses, there should be sufficient gap so the antibody level declines. Otherwise क्या होगा, आप हार्मोन इंजेक्ट करेंगे and hormone will have no action because antibody will neutralize that hormone. Okay, I think this was all about this HCG, PMSG and HCG. Any other question about this PMSG and HCG?
सर बेसिकली वेटनरी प्रैक्टिसेस में ये एचसीजी एनिमल के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू में एलएच की तरह काम कर रहा है, इसलिए ओव्यूलेशन कर रहा है, और ह्यूमन के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू में वो आफ्टर मतलब प्रेगनेंसी वो प्रोजेस्टेरोन इंक्रीज और कॉर्पस लुटियम मेंटेन करने का फंक्शन कर रहा है.
नहीं बेटे, नहीं, you are confusing, you are a little bit confusing. आप इस दो चीजों को confuse मत, don't get confused with the two things. First is in a pregnancy, as the pregnancy concept fertilization takes place and conceptus starts developing, the progesterone level starts rising. अभी आप when you study the ovary and fertilization process in the female reproduction, there you'll be studying as the fertilization takes place, the corpus luteum formation takes place, and corpus luteum is the source of progesterone. So progesterone level will start rising, estrogen level will start declining. The second thing about the HCG, don't get confused. HCG, as I told, cytotrophoblastic, these cells of the placenta, it also secretes the HCG hormone, that is LH in function, and it is secreted through urine. It will not have any impact in that animal because no follicles are there to cause ovulation. तो उसमें कोई impact नहीं आएगा, but it can be used at some other purpose somewhere else. Clear?
Yes, sir.
और कोई query आपकी इससे related? Okay, no queries. If there are no queries, then we are already through 35 minutes. And if we start with the thyroid gland, then I'll not be able to complete that. Even halfway will not be able to reach. So I'll just give you some points for study before you join for the lecture next week. Next week I'll try to take up this thyroid gland if there are no important engagements of mine. Well, first of all, thyroid gland, you have already studied the thyroidal regulation and all, how the thyroid hormone is formed. But can anybody answer me? This is a very common question of general knowledge, I would say. How much iodine we are using per day, or what is the iodine requirement of a human beings? Animals का तो आप बताना मुश्किल है, आप human beings का बता दीजिए, आपकी क्या requirement है? Yeah, Anurag. Anurag, can you tell me? He is not there? Roop Narayan.
Hello.
Yes, yes. What is the iodine requirement?
100 to 150 mg.
आवाज बहुत कम आ रही है आपकी.
100
Not,
to 150 mg in human beings, I think, sir.
I couldn't get through.
100
Reply.
to 150.
What? 100 to 120 what? Anybody else like to take the question?
सर शायद वो सही बोल रहा है 150 मिलीग्राम शायद
150 milligram per day, per week, per month, per year.
पर डे सर
नहीं बेटे, it's too high. I'm coming to the answer. Anybody who
150
else?
microgram.
Per microgram.
150
How many?
micrograms.
Just
10
remember
mg daily, sir. 10
one
mg
for.
daily.
Okay, wait. One formula I'll give you to remember. You'll never forget. How many weeks in a year?
52.
52 हाँ
52 weeks. So roughly 52 milligram is the, in broader sense, requirement of a year. But in general, we say 1 milligram per day is, 1 milligram per week is our requirement of iodine. So it comes to 52 milligram per year. That is the normal requirement of iodine for a normal human being. And of course, for animals, not much studies about this requirement has been conducted. That's why I told you the requirement of iodine is very, very less in human beings. And the one thing more that normally you must have osmosis or transfer of the across the membranes. You must have studied that. Say there is a, on the one side there is a higher concentration, then side B has a lower concentration. So what will be the flow? Flow will be from A to B.
नेचुरली तो सर
There is a membrane. On the A side of membrane, concentration of X thing is higher, and on the B side, concentration is low. So the flow will be from A to B, isn't
B
it?
Yes,
to
sir.
A. B to A, sir.
A to B.
B to A होगा.
सर A
Solute-
to B सर from high
A to B,
concentration to
sir.
low.
Higher to lower
सोल्यूट
concentration.
कंसंट्रेशन पे डिपेंड करता है सर आपका.
बेटे वही बता रहा हूँ मैं. Solute concentration is higher in the A side. So it
तो सर तो लोअर से हायर में जाएगा सर.
क्या बात, जहाँ पे ज्यादा होगा वहीं से कम की तरफ मूव करेगा ना. ग्लूकोज कंसंट्रेशन.
सॉल्वेंट का सर मूवमेंट होगा.
सॉल्वेंट का मूवमेंट होगा सर.
Wait. There is a membrane. On the A side of membrane, glucose concentration is 100 milligram per milliliter. On the side B of the membrane, the glucose concentration is 10 milligram per ml. So the glucose will move from A to B or B to A?
B to A.
A to B.
A to B from high concentrations to low concentration.
Yes. So normally this is the fundamental of movement of solutes across the membrane. But in iodine, it is totally different. Totally different. So just try to go through, study through it. We'll try to study in this chapter very interesting things. Thyroid gland is going to be very interesting and of good knowledge. Be prepared, come prepared. I'll announce a day before when we are going to have this class. So I'd like to wind up for the day. Anything else? If you have any queries? No queries?
No,
डॉक्टर प्रमोद, आपको तो नहीं कुछ बोलना है?
नहीं सर, इट्स ओके सर.
Okay, fine. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, bye.